I made a little short about how predictability is not the end of the world in fiction, and there's one more thing I would beg y'all not to worry too much about, and it's realism. Because objectively, the very act of turning something into a story makes it less realistic. Our real lives are actually just a random series of events. And I will not argue with you over whether you think life in general has meaning. Like, that is a personal thing. But when you're in the thick of it, trust me when I say you do not know what the meaning is. And even looking back 10, 20, 30 years later, it is often hard to see what the meaning was, if there was any. And to achieve meaning, we have to cut all sorts of things that are not part of the narrative that we want to tell. And that inherently makes it less realistic. A story having meaning, which, yes, all stories do, inherently makes it less realistic. But more than that, each individual element of a story, we shape it in a way that makes it less realistic to make it entertaining. Like dialogue. Most of us think that good dialogue is something that sounds like the way people talk, and it's not. I once had an internship where I got to transcribe an interview with an internationally famous, incredibly well-spoken actor. And when I did it, I transcribed every single word, including the uhs, including the sentences that trailed off. I included the bits where a sentence started in one tense and shifted to another, because we do that in real life. All these little elements that if I was writing dialogue, I would have gotten rid of. And sure enough, when I sent it in, I got it immediately sent back to me, being like, hey, could you clean this up? And the act of cleaning it up was basically turning it into dialogue. What we're trying to achieve with dialogue when we're writing stories is it needs to be entertaining, it needs to be punchy, it needs to be witty, quick, and it needs to convey as much information as possible as quickly as possible. And that's not the way people talk. So yeah, you're not actually aiming at realism when you're writing fiction, or even memoir or nonfiction. What you're actually aiming at is verisimilitude. You're aiming at something that is just close enough to realistic that it doesn't distract with its artificiality, but is also not actual real life. Because it turns out, real life is less entertaining than a story.